Hello, guys. Eduardo here. Today, I want to talk to you about an atom that might be helpful for you. Today I want to review Skelion. This is just, a very brief introduction to Skelion so that, it might be helpful for you, especially because Skelion has a free version. So you can start using it right now, free of charge. And if you want to upgrade for the, Skelion Pro package, you can just, uh, pay. I think it's $100 or $200. I don't remember, but it comes with a very cool set of tools that will save you a lot of time. So okay, so you can download Skelion in their webpage, skelion.com. Go to download and just download a free trial for the pro version, or you can just go to your extension and just search for, go to the extension manager, and sorry, extension warehouse, and just find Skelion there. So this is very useful. This tool is very useful, especially the free version, to place modules, to locate modules in a surface. Let's say that we have this, this house, this model. This is at scale. So I will have a couple tools. The main tool that you're gonna use is this little tool, which looks like a solar panel. You just a solar cell. You just click on it, and you will see this window. So this window has different options. It will prompt different settings for the placement of the modules. You really want to know that these two options, tilt and relative tilt. So tilt, you will use tilt when you are placing modules in a flat surface. So if you click tilt and okay, so let's go back first. Okay, so the way you use Skelion is by clicking on a surface. So let's say I want to place modules here. Okay, so I just click on the surface. I go to this little blue button here, and I'm gonna click relative tilt if it is a tilted surface, or I'm gonna click tilt if it is a flat surface. Okay, if I click tilt, I need to give them the angle. If I click relative tilt, I don't need to give them the angle. If I just put 0, it's gonna be, I'm gonna have the same tilt as the roof. If I put some tilt here, the panel will be angled relative to the, to the surface, just like you see here. Okay, so for this example, I'm just gonna click relative tilt. And then here, this is very important. Here you can choose the module. So as you can see here, I got already a custom database with the modules that I usually use for my systems. Okay, so I use the LG Neon, Mission Solar, Solaria, etc. But you can modify the database. I'll show you how probably in another video, because this is a little bit more complicated. But you can customize your own library. It usually comes with a, if you click here in change database, it usually comes with a uh, basic database with a lot of modules. You can see here. So in this database, you'll find very basic information about the modules. For example, let's see the LG 350. You'll see the length, the width, and the thickness, and also the power and the weight of the module. So these basically five, and the name. So those basically six characteristics of the module you'll see here. And the power and the weight, well, especially the power, is very useful for energy analysis, which this app also do. So let's say, for example, that I already input my module. I click on it, and I keep moving here, and here you see different options like row gap, space between panels, etc. So usually you're gonna go 1/4 inch for the mid clamps. You can choose whether you like it on portrait or landscape. And you can choose whether you like the rows alignment or misaligned, to maximize the space. I'm gonna go with these settings. These usually are and also stack component. If you are working in a flat surface and you want to stack them, uh, like the image shows here, you can just put how many modules you want to stack. Okay, so I'm gonna just leave it right here. I'm gonna go to pitch. So if you, like I say, if you're working in a tilted roof, you don't need to worry about this. Just go with any option. It doesn't matter. But if you're working in a flat surface, you want to go with changing these settings so that it can match the requirements that you're looking for. This is very important. This is useful. So with the model date, it will basically determine what is the optimal distance between one module and the other based on the tilt that you give at the beginning. It will automatically give you the spacing, but you can add more spacing if you want. So this is just an extra, you know, um, an extra space if you want to add. So these are the 4 different options. You don't need to worry about this. Just go with the second one. Okay. If you want to learn more about what these options are, I recommend you to watch the Skelion videos. They have a very cool set of videos that explain all the different tools. I recommend you to watch and take a look at that. So once I have all my settings, just click continue and you'll see how it automatically add the modules. Um, it doesn't take any setback or anything. I didn't put any requirements, so it's just basically gonna fill up the roof as much as possible. So you can, you just can, and it's gonna add the modules in a group. So you just can double click on the group and just modify the group as you want. Also, a really cool feature, you just can click on any module. You'll see how many modules you got added in entity info. This is one of the windows in SketchUp. You can see in entity info here how many modules you have. In this case, 38. So you can just delete the modules as you need to. Okay, let's do the same thing in the flat surface. So I just click on the flat surface, go to this little button, go to tilt. I'm gonna give them, I don't know, 20 degrees south. Just click continue. And you'll see here, it's very weird, but you can see 20 degrees south, how it looks like. And you'll see it automatically space one row and the other like so. I recommend you, before doing any tilted system like this, I recommend you to go to File, Geolocation, and go to Add Geolocation. I already added it, so that's why it doesn't show me anything. But you'll see another option that says Add Geolocation. You just click on it and just introduce the address that you're working on, and you'll get the correct shading. All right, so that's a basic option. That's a free version. That's what you're gonna get. You're also gonna get a button that allows you to okay, so the button is this. Let me see this. So okay, so this is like a database input, right? This is like a database input. You can easily add your brand, model, and the different specs of the module, and you just save panel. Also, you can choose the texture. So you can just click save panel, and the panel will be saved when you go to add a new module. The panel will be saved when you click change database in user PV database. Okay, not Skelion. Skelion, you cannot modify this database, but you can modify all the user PV database. I also recommend you to Like I said, I'm gonna add another tutorial, or I can show you how to manually edit the database, because by doing this is a little bit time consuming. So you can directly access the text document and add a bunch of modules at the same time, so it's easier. And also you can add the texture. So when you open it up, you'll see that you have only these four. I custom made these two, so I just added these two texture. It's very easy. You can just import the PNG image to the database, and that's it. They have a very good tutorial on how to do this. All right. So what else? This option methodological data, this allows you to import all the metadata of the location that you choose, that you already input here in the geolocation. Once you add the geolocation for your model, you just click here and you can choose different databases for the meteorological data. You just, for example, you just can click here, load, and it automatically will, you'll see this green check, you automatically will input the data. So that means that you have all the hour by hour weather database in the system. So that allows you to get a very accurate energy forecast. Okay, what else? This option right here, optimal orientation, this is all premium. So the free version only allows you to add modules, that's it. All the other options that we're gonna see are premium. Okay, so this meteorological data, like I said, is just adding the database. Then optimal orientation, this basically, for using the optimal orientation, it will tell you what is the optimal tilt of the module in that particular point. So in order to use this tool, you need to click here where it says construction point. You just click construction point, click whenever, anywhere you need to calculate the production. For example, I want to add a module right here. I just click the construction point. Okay, I press escape just to get out of the construction point tool. And then I'm gonna choose the surface. I'm gonna choose the construction point, and I'm gonna click here, optimal orientation. I'm gonna go down all the way. Sorry, I'm gonna click continue. So you can see here that is recommending me placing the modules facing south in a tilt which is around 20 to 35, between 15 and 35, which is the maximum output. You see, so this is a very visual, very easy to understand graph. You can see here the azimuth and the tilt. So you can pretty much see, okay, so what will be the tilt that I need in order to get the maximum amount of, power out of the module. All right, so let's see the other option. I'm trying to delete the construction point. Okay, so the other option is very useful. It basically, you select a surface, like for example, this flat. I want to know how far away the shadows of this roof reaches the flat part of the roof. So like, for example, how this roof will affect this flat roof right here. So I just click on the flat roof. I go here to the sunny area. I'm gonna introduce my parameters. Like I said, I recommend you to go to the video tutorials that Skelion has in their webpage. But I basically add the parameters that I'm looking for, and they just press calculate. And you'll see a line draw on top of the surface. And that line basically represents what will be the worst case scenario for the shading. As you can see, as I move the shadow, it basically matches with the marks on the surface that I just got. And that's useful because I just click on it on this new surface and I can add modules considering the new area. All right. Okay, that's, I'm gonna go back. Okay. All right, what else? Rotate north. This basically uses the location to rotate your model to the true north. Okay, what else? Okay, array view. It basically changes the um, texture of your modules to white, and it allows you to color the modules individually. So you can go just here to paint bucket and just click on select color and paint your modules as you want, each individual module. So this allows you to, once you do the energy calculation, it would allow you to differentiate different groups. So if you want to know these 4 modules or these 4 here, what will be the production compared to the rest, you color those modules, and that way the system differentiates between the mark and the non-mark panels. Right, that's just by pressing here in array view. All right, so report. Report, it basically give you a report of the system that you have installed. It doesn't give you energy forecast. We'll see other options right now, but this doesn't give you any energy forecast. If you click continue, you'll see here, so phase analysis, it gives you the module you're using, number of modules, power, the weight, the total power, peak power, what else? So if you, like I said, you see here array analysis, so you can see one color, 4 modules marked with that color, and these are the characteristics of that group. It doesn't tell you anything else. So this is just in order to have an idea of the system, but it doesn't give you anything else. But it is important because you can click on it and you can go to, do you want to calculate shading losses? If you press yes, and you can click here, draw shading losses. So it basically will tell you what will be the shading losses per every single module. And you can see here in a table, very simple table, what will be the percentage monthly shading losses of every single group or phase that you have. In this case, I don't have any shading because all my modules are facing no shading. I can see clearly here that 0% shading losses. But like, for example, if I add, let's say I add an obstacle here in the, right here, and I recalculate this, now you can see the shading losses per month, how it changes. In January, I'm gonna have a 3.44% losses. Same in December, but for example in June and July, I'm not gonna have any type of loss whatsoever. And it also mark what are the losses in every individual module. So you can see this module will have a 10.29% loss compared to this one, which is gonna have 0 loss. This is very useful if you have the right dimensions of any obstacles around for shading analysis. This is very useful to have. It's very quick to use, as you can see here. And it allows you to do multiple studies in a few clicks. So for example, I just cut this obstacle a little bit and I press the report button again. And in 5 seconds, I got how that will affect the system. You can see it's very simple. Now I went down to 5.49%. All right, so that's this little tool. Let's see the next one. And face report is basically just report for the faces. So Skelion differentiates the groups, differentiates the group modules in different categories. You can differentiate in groups, faces, and I think that's it. So this is just a report for the faces. All right, so here you have PV watts report uh, and the Europe report. So the one that I use the most is PV watts report. So once you added your modules, you just click on PV watt report, just group and just click continue. And it will open up a PV watts pre-populated web browser like this, pre-populated with the groups that you have. Like for example, if you got multiple groups in different side of the roof, you will have group 1, group 2, group 3, etc. So I'm gonna click continue, calculate. And using the specs that I introduced at the beginning, it will give me a yield, annual yield, energy output per year. You can see here also the shading losses, and it will actually consider the shading losses in order to give me the energy output, which is really cool. It's something that you cannot do on PV watt alone. You will need to introduce the shading losses, the percentage of shading losses, and this app actually does that for you. So it gives you based on the shading losses, it gives you an energy estimate of what the system will produce. Of course, this is not like as precise as other software. This is just, I wouldn't use this as a definite, you know, um, information. I wouldn't trust this like 100%. I'll trust it maybe 80%, but I will use other, sources to come up with the final answer. But this is a very comparison tool. If you got different options, you can just use this to compare to one option to the other. And it's very easy, very fast to use, as you can see. And it uses the shading losses, which is really important because if you don't use the shading losses, you can pretty much use any other software online like OpenSolar, and it's free and you're gonna get the same results. But since this tool actually uses the shading losses, it's a plus. It's very useful. All right. And then the rest of the tools are basically if you want to do a commercial system in a non-flat surface, like it actually is asking you to create a mesh to add the modules on that mesh. So I'm not gonna focus on this because this is, I mean, if you're working on commercial, I wouldn't recommend you to use this tool. But you have the option here. And finally, you have export to PVSys and export shading the rates to SAM. And I use this the most. Like for example, if you have, like I said, an obstacle here, you can export the shading losses to SAM just by clicking here. It tells you what you need to click on SAM. And actually, if you press save, it will save a Excel file. And you can export that Excel file into SAM. It'll give you the shading losses for your analysis in SAM. Very useful. And then you have Google Map just to import images from Google Map. And you have options here just to create any object into a Skelion component. Remember, these panels uh, are not just a model in SketchUp, but it's also a Skelion component. So Skelion uses the surface, the tilt, what is facing, the azimuth, the tilt, and all those um, parameters to come up with the energy estimate. So this is a Skelion component, not just a model in SketchUp, right? So you can convert any object into a Skelion component and add that object to a surface in as a as a array. All right, what else? And then you have settings. These are very minimalistic settings. You basically have the conversion 360 or 180. How do you want it to be? You have the shading losses, which tell you, okay, how precise you want to be when calculating shading losses. You want to only consider 1 point on the module, or you want to consider 2, or how many points you want to consider when calculating shading losses. Of course, as you add more and more points, the calculation time increases. So that all depends on what computer you're using. And that's basically it. I mean, it's very simple. Um, I recommend you to just check it out. The free version is available, and you'll have a 15 days trial to the pro version if you want to, just get it. Uh, I recommend you to get the pro version if you're thinking about, um, if you're doing a lot of energy analysis and you want to have that, PV watt availability, very easy to use, or if you're using SAM a lot and you want to export if you basically want to export the shading losses for to SAM, I also recommend you to use that. All right. Okay, guys, I hope this has been helpful for you. Let me know if you got any question about it. I hope at least I've been able to help at least one of you. Okay, if you got any question, just let me know.